9, and it's been a very busy morning here in the studio. It's just the way we like it. And joining Tom and I this morning, we've got Jessica Rogers from the RNLI. A very good morning to you, Jessica.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. A bit of excitement in the air for this weekend, Jessica.
Oh, indeed. Yes, you may or may not know, but it's 200 years of lifesaving this year with the RNLI. So we've been established for 200 years. And there's a big lifeboat festival this weekend at Pembroke Castle. And that's running from 1 o'clock till 8 o'clock. It's obviously Father's Day. It's all family fun. Please come down and see us.
I love that. What time is that between, Jessica?
1 p.m. till 8 p.m. and there'll be music and stalls and games, and there's quite a few local lifesavers there, so you can come and chat to us, and you never know, we might inspire the next generation to come and save lives at sea.
Yeah, because you're going to be there yourself, but providing your own perspective of what it's like being a crew member.
Indeed. So I believe what I'll be doing is we will have an actual D class there, which is one of our small inflatable boats. You might have seen them on Saving Lives at Sea and different programs like that. So there's little ribs, and they do most of the work in the RNLI. I'm a crew member on one of these as well. So I am crew at RNLI Fishguard. We have a small D class rib, and we also have the all-weather Trent lifeboat, which is the bigger ones. But yeah, the little boats are the workhorses. And if you come along on Sunday, you can actually see one and sit in one, have your photo taken if you want.
So you said you're a crew member of the Fishguard lifeboat. What does it sort of entail? How does you've got to have a page you're on? Give us a bit of an insight.
Sure. Well, I joined. It's coming up to 3 years. It'll be 3 years this autumn that I've been part of the crew. I've always been interested in the lifeboats. I just had a bit of a fascination with them, but I've always lived too far away. I mean, I was born in the West Midlands, grew up in Cardiff, and moved to Fishguard, Pembrokeshire, the last 5 years or so. So I realised that there was a station in Fishguard and that I'd be eligible to join. If you are operational crew, you need to be within about 10 minutes so that you can respond quickly. So, I went down and joined, and I had no seafaring experience. I've never really been on boats except for going dolphin watching off, Tenby or somewhere. So you join, and there's a lot of training, obviously, because I have no experience. And what you do is, it can be a little bit dangerous. It's quite skilled. So what I do as a crew member, every week we go down on a Wednesday and we train. And sometimes we do additional training as well, maybe go out the weekends. And then day to day, we carry a pager with us. So you're on call sort of 24/7. Can be a little bit awkward with work and family events and things. If the pager goes, you just sort of drop what you're doing, get to the station as quick as you can. And then the coxswain or the helm at the time will select their crew for the job and go out.
Gosh.
Wow. And this is all voluntary?
It is all voluntary, yes. So you have to be quite committed. There are a lot of hours involved, and especially for someone like myself who's never done anything, there's a lot of training. So you have got to really sort of apply yourself. But I really enjoy it, and that's why I do the extra events like what I'm doing on Sunday, and I'm a fundraiser as well. I just love it.
Yeah. And it's really important to get this fundraising to be able to supply this service, across the country, and of course here in Pembrokeshire, because we've got so much sea around us as well. So a very important day coming up this Sunday.
Absolutely, and as you say, we rely on voluntary donations, volunteers, and our supporters. Whether that's businesses, individuals, families, but everyone can support us either by coming down, volunteering yourself. Fishguard are looking for crew. Please come and see us. But yeah, it's 200 years the RNLI's been around, and that's always been off the backs of the kindness of people, basically, the local community looking after itself.
Yeah, it's remarkable. 200 years. I'm just trying to think back now to any organisations or other institutions, and even like our favourite football clubs. None of them are that old. Like, it's an institution that has endured the test of time and endured the advance of technology from an idea from people on the Isle of Wight, where we're on an island, we want a crew ready for when there's issues at sea. And yet you're still getting regular call outs. There's a number around Pembrokeshire. I grew up in Little Haven, so that D-class rib is something that I'm very familiar seeing, and the flares coming out through the valley there. But it's endured the test of time, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere, is it?
No, we're still very much needed and very much busy. Over the last 200 years, on average, the RNLI has saved 2 lives a day over that period across the UK and Ireland. So, no, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I know we've been out 2 or 3 times in the last week. Places like Angle Lifeboat Station are very, very busy on the marina there. So there's plenty of need.
Yeah. And if people want to give up their time, you mentioned that you've got operational crew and you've got other crew that kind of look after the maintenance and things like that as well. What's the best way for people to find out more about the opportunities in their area?
Go to the RNLI website, and that will have listings of any opportunities that in the EU. You can search for distance. If you know where your local lifeboat station is, just pop down. We're mostly a very friendly bunch. We don't mind you popping in. There's a lot of Facebook pages, social media, and each station publishes their own social media. So have a look what's around on there. But please don't be afraid to step forward. I was very scared to step forward. I thought they won't want me, they won't talk to me, because I wasn't local and I didn't know anyone. But I just put myself out there because I was quite determined. And yeah, here I am nearly 3 years later.
Wow. A friend of mine's recently moved to Berry Port, and he's now part of the crew as well. Again, zero experience, but it was like, I live on this coastal arena and there's people that need help. And if you're in distress in the middle of the water, it must be the most scary feeling in the world. What have been some of your experiences that you've had?
So I'm still relatively new, but I know I have been out on 20-ish shouts so far. There was quite a interesting one last year. It was a couple of kayakers off Dinas Head, and one had capsized, possibly had the wrong jacket on, had an inflatable jacket as opposed to a buoyancy aid, so it made it very difficult for him to get back onto the kayak. So couldn't get back on the kayak. I think it was about April, so the water was very cold. So there were 3 crew. We went out on the D class. His friend was sort of holding on to him, and it was literally a case of sort of grab him and get him in the boat. And he was very cold, so try and warm him up and get him back to the beach where the Coast Guard were waiting for him. So that's the most hands-on sort of time critical one I've done.
Yeah. And of course, it's those simple errors of judgment, isn't it? He probably thought, I've got something on, I'm free to go out, I can do this. But a change in the wind, a change in conditions can find you in distress. And for those that do find themselves in distress on the water, what's the quickest way for them to get help?
Yes, so our water safety team are great at spreading all these messages. They'll be there on Sunday as well. But carrier means of calling for help. If no one knows you there, no one can come and help you. So carry means calling for help. Tell someone where you're going, when you're going to be back, and try and make sure you've got all the right equipment, and we can give you all that advice if you contact us.
Yeah, and if you do find yourself in distress, dial 999 and ask for the Coast Guard.
Ask for the Coast Guard. And if you see anyone in distress, please do the same as well. We'd rather be called and not be needed than the other way around.
Yeah. Jessica, thank you so much for your insight. Of course, you mentioned the programme Saving Lives at Sea. I know St. David's have featured on that previously with a rescue on White Sands Beach. And it really is fantastic. You give all that, well, you're putting your own lives at risk in need for this. So it's a celebration of 200 years and a bit of an education on Sunday. What are you most looking forward to on Sunday?
Well, I think I'm most looking forward to the shanty bands. I love a good shanty.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's going to be good fun, that is. You've got lots of other live music and some local choirs, I believe, as well.
Absolutely. I think it's local musicians, choirs, shanty bands. There'll be stalls. We've got RNLI 200 merchandise, so if you want a little souvenir, we'll have things available. It's a free event for families to come down to. Donations are welcome. They'll help us to keep saving lives at sea, of course. But yeah, we just look forward to meeting people and inspiring the next generation.
Love that so much. Jessica Rogers, thank you so much for your time here this morning. Have a great Sunday between 1 and 8 at Pembroke Castle at the Lifeboat Festival, celebrating 200 years of saving lives at sea. A shanty, I feel like that we should put a shanty song on now. Would it be too obvious to go for Wellerman?
Oh, do it.
We'll do it. There you go. Right, we've got Wellerman on the way for us. Jessica, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Get your annual pass today for